Coming to mandible, which is easy, 3 marks, very easy. Also, it's gonna be in the other part of the counter. The first one is coronoid process. We've done this multiple times. Here is the coronoid process. If this is marked, this part is marked, this part is marked, you should know they're talking about coronoid process right here. We've seen this before, even in temporalis muscle. The massaging like this, the insertion of the muscle temporalis is coronoid process. So very easy. Coronoid process is actually a PYQ. Everything which is marked in yellow is a PYQ. Next one, head of mandible. Head of mandible, we have already done this too. It goes in the mandibular fossa, that is, it forms the TMJ, and this is the mandibular fossa, and here is the synovial condylar. We've done this before also. Let me show you where. Mandibular fossa must be right here. This is the mandibular fossa, and we've done this TMJ and synovial condylar. So most of the things in mandible we have already done. Okay, so it's easy, very easy. So temporomandibular joint and synovial condylar type. Pterygoid fovea. Now this is a little tricky. Like the marked portion is going to be this. Now don't confuse it with the notch. Notch is just this. This part is the notch. Otherwise everything is like, if it's marked, it is pterygoid fovea. Fovea is like a, you can say it's like a space. It's a space in which the lateral pterygoid muscle slides into. This is how you can imagine and visualize lateral pterygoid muscle. You can visualize pterygoid fovea. So it has lateral pterygoid muscle sliding into it. This is the hollow space. You can imagine this. This is the hollow space. So if this is marked, it's pterygoid fovea. Okay, don't confuse it with mandibular notch, because they're not gonna ask mandibular notch. If anything related to this is marked, it's pterygoid fovea. It's a PYQ. Neck of mandible we've already done. This is the neck. The ligament is TM ligament. Okay, we've done this before when I was in the previous video when I was talking about this one. When you can also see here ligament attached temporomandible to the zygomatic arch. Okay, so neck of mandible. Neck of mandible, we've done this before. Coming to the next part, this is outer surface of ramus. This actually came in the 197 batch also during July exams, and even last year it came in for 196 batch. So it's important. Might not come this time, but it's important. It's easy also, so you can know. Outer surface of ramus is simply the insertion of the muscle masseter. We've just learned this in the previous videos here, right here. Masseter, outer surface of mandible. Okay, our mandible ramus. Here is where the masseter muscle inserts, and insertion of this, or originates. Is it the origin? Yeah, it's it's insertion. Then coming to the next part, which is mandibular foramen. It's right here. Don't have to visualize too much. It's this part, this hollow, this hole right here. This hole is the mandibular foramen, and the contents is very confusing, very weird. So it's not weird. It's like it's something very forgettable. So if you are remembering this, good job to you, because it's very forgettable. The contents of mandibular foramen. This is gonna be marked. Now there are many things here, so don't confuse it with anything else. Okay, so you have to remember this part. If anything related, if anything around this area is marked, you have to remember it. The first thing around this area you have to remember is mandibular foramen, and the content is related to the alveolar process of mandible. This is the alveolar process of the mandible. You know this, right? We've done this in buccinator muscle also. So inferior, this is the inferior alveolar process of mandible. Vessels that supply to this part goes through here. You can literally visualize it going from here to here. It's very easy, okay? So mandibular foramen, very forgettable. Don't forget this, okay? Mandibular foramen contents is inferior alveolar nerves and vessels. Mandibular, it's a PYQ, it can come. So what's going to be marked on the mandible given on the station? This one, this station, you remember what I'm saying? The mandibular foramen, this part is going to be marked, okay? Next is lingula. I don't think so this is going to be asked, but if they ask, it's very tricky. They never ask, so they might, to make it tough, yani. If they prepare something tough, if the mode is difficult, then they might give this one. Lingula, this is this part. This is the mandibular foramen. This is the lingula. We have always seen lingula to be something tongue-like. Even in liver, we might have studied in second year earlier. Sorry, first year, that liver also has a part called lingula. If it's a liver or lung, I don't remember, but the lingula always is in this shape, okay? Sphenomandibular ligament, okay? This is the ligament attached to it. You can measure, you can take a screenshot of this, okay? Sphenomandibular ligament is what it's attached to lingula. This is also very forgettable, so remember this. Mylohyoid groove, very tricky, very tricky. Mylohyoid groove is actually different from mylohyoid line, okay? Mylohyoid groove is different. It's right here. This is mylohyoid groove. It might be here. This is mylohyoid groove, okay? It's very different from mylohyoid line. So remember that. Mylohyoid groove. It's not going to come, but just remember it. Has mylohyoid nerves and vessels. Now what actually confuses people is that when they ask mylohyoid line, they give the contents of mylohyoid groove, which you're not supposed to do, okay? Mylohyoid groove contents, then you're not supposed to give mylohyoid contents, okay? So mylohyoid groove has mylohyoid nerves and arteries, while mylohyoid line, that's very important, might come. This line is the mylohyoid line. Right over here also you can see mylohyoid line, this line. Can we see somewhere else? Mylohyoid line. Is it visible here? Mylohyoid line. Now if they ask mylohyoid, which is very easy to figure, it's like this ridge right here is mylohyoid line. They might ask, it's a PYQ, very, very important, might ask, okay? So the two contents which are very important to know is of the mylohyoid line is this supraconstrictor muscle. It's a pharynx related muscle, superior constrictor muscle, okay? There are like three constrictor muscles which are superior. One of them is this one, and this goes and attaches to the mylohyoid. The other one is the mylohyoid muscle. Of course, mylohyoid line must have like mylohyoid muscle, makes total sense, okay? This is the muscle that attaches to this mylohyoid line. This might come, okay? So it's important. The other thing is this ligament, pterygomandibular raphe. You're not supposed to confuse this with sphenomandibular ligament, okay? So this is pterygomandibular raphe, yani pterygomandibular ligament, and this is sphenomandibular ligament. Okay, mylohyoid line, muscles attached, mylohyoid muscles, and superior constrictor pharynx. Ligaments attached, pterygomandibular ligament. Now, the contents of mylohyoid lines are so important that just for the contents, they might ask this question. Even if it's like so easy to figure out, but the contents are very forgetful. So remember this. Next, angle of mandible, easiest shit ever. If like the examiner wants you to pass, they're gonna give this one. if the mode is very easy, it's very easy, so might come also, okay? This is angle of mandible. Almost everybody who started this video watching this video knows this. What they don't know is the content of like if they ask, what are they gonna ask, this structures attached to it. The first thing is ligament. You need to remember, because three ligaments in mandible we need to remember is the first one is attached to lingula, the second one is the mylohyoid line one, which is pterygo one, and this one, the third one is angle of mandible, which is stylomandibular ligament. Stylomandibular ligament. What else is related to angle of mandible is muscles attached, which is medial pterygoid. Now pterygoid fovea had lateral pterygoid, so angle of mandible has Medial pterygoid muscles. This I have like to imagine, to make you imagine it. Imagine that there's a medial pterygoid muscle sliding from here to here, okay, for attached to the angle of mandible. All right. So lateral pterygoid, medial pterygoid. Lateral pterygoid, pterygoid fovea, medial pterygoid, angle of mandible. Okay, very easy. Next, oblique line, buccinator. Now oblique line is quite simple actually. This one, this green thing is oblique line, and you know the muscles that are attached here is the buccinator muscles. Yeah, this one, look. So if it's related, these are the buccinator muscle. So it's like makes this is the oblique line right somewhere here. You can imagine it, right? Okay. Next, very easy, oblique line is very easy. Mental foramen. They might ask, they asked this question in July exams. Okay. July, yani the 197 one. They asked this question. Mental foramen is just this hole. Very easy. Easiest question, this whole. And the contents is mental nerves and vessels. Then next is we did mylohyoid line. Then submandibular fossa. Now we all know submandibular gland is located a little bit below the sublingual gland. So this is little like below the mylohyoid line is submandibular fossa. So if this area is if this is shaded, if this is marked on the mandible, it is submandibular fossa, and the shaded or the marked portion is above the mylohyoid, remember it's sublingual fossa. All right, this is the sublingual fossa, this is the submandibular fossa. Contents: submandibular gland, sublingual gland. Very easy, not waste time in this. Next is, we'll skip this, we'll first do this one, digastric fossa, because it came multiple times in previous years, multiple times. So might come here too in 196 batch also, and 197 too in these June July exams. This is the digastric fossa right here. This is the anterior belly of the digastric muscle. Okay, anterior belly of digastric muscle. Now above this are some tubercles. There are superior tubercles, there are inferior tubercles. These are called genial tubercles. I don't know if that's right pronunciation, but we should know this because I'm like pronouncing it so that I remember the spelling of it. Is genial tubercles. Superior tubercles is related to genioglossus muscle. Inferior tubercle is related to geniohyoid muscle. All right. So this was mandible. The last whatever, last but not the least, the atlas muscle is given. The atlas vertebra is what they might ask. The superior part and the inferior part. The superior face of this and the inferior face is this. So this vertebra is gonna be on the table. You can easily, if they're gonna ask this, you can easily, because it's the only one they're gonna ask. So it's one thing that you need to know. Very few important parts about atlas is it's ring shaped, it has no spine, it has no body. The superior part looks like this, is kidney shaped. Superior, the articular facet of the superior face is kidney shaped. Okay, it is kidney shaped. That's what you need to know. That's like if you write this part, or if you remember this part, and if they ask it about atlas so, and you write all about this part, you're gonna get full marks. Full marks. Superior articular facets is kidney shaped, and inferior